realised that was the thing that I was curious about, but was really important to me. Today was a family. I've got to control my own diary. Or having your own business, there's always a load of stuff that we'd all rather not be doing. Like, nobody's got that luxury, I don't think.
That's a really important message, because I've heard plenty of people online say, only do what you're passionate about, only follow you. Sometimes that's not reality,
I mean,
right?
that's like, good luck with that. I mean, it's
that's
just
good to hear
not
from someone
real.
like
It's just, that's just not reality. I think we've all got to do some of the crap as well, to be perfectly honest. But I think, what I do think is important for entrepreneurs is you need to, your reason for doing it needs to be enough to help you be self-propelled, because I think the one thing that a lot of people don't talk about enough is actually how hard it is and how resilient you have to be to have your own business. You know, it's all of our jobs, because we're consumer facing, most of us, is to make it look easy. If we made it look really stressful, we'd have no customers, right? So we have to make it look quite easy. But the reality is that everybody's pedaling really fast underneath the water, and you have to be very, very resilient. And, you know, I always think of it like as if you've got like a little propeller on your back, and, you know, when you fall into the hole, nobody's going to pull you out. That propeller's got to go off, and you've got to get back up again, and you've got to keep walking. And I don't think we talk enough about how important that resilience is. And often that resilience comes from somewhere. And what is that driving factor? Because a lot of people fall at the first hurdle because that bit's not strong enough. And it means the propeller's not going to work. And it means you're not going to be resilient or motivated enough to pick yourself back up again. So I think it's less about, am I doing something that I love? If that's the thing that drives you, great, that will, you know, that'll set the backpack off and you'll get out of the hole again. But what you do have to do is have a strong enough reason to pick yourself back up off the floor and to keep going, because we've all of us faced the tough times, and it's very rare that somebody will pull you out. You've got to do it yourself. So you've got to have something that drives you.
What's your drive?
My drive's freedom, actually. So it is.
What does freedom mean?
So freedom to me is, I think, being able to control my own. It's time. Being able to control my own time and to be able to go left when everybody else is going right. And that's what's always driven me to. That's what success looks like to me.
Is controlling your own time.
Controlling my own time. So every single time I do something and I'm kind of driven to learn and to progress and to see something grow, every single morning I get up to make myself redundant. Every morning. Like, how am I going to make myself a bit closer to being redundant today? And of course you go through periods where actually you've got to get further and further in and work harder and harder on the business and spend more and more time in the business to be able to make yourself redundant. You know, it's like when you delegate something to somebody else for the first time and you've started your own business, it's painful to begin with, right? Because they're not as good often as you are at your superpowers, the things that you're exceptional at. And it takes time. But in the end, when they get there, that just frees up this entire chunk of time for you to be able to focus and do something else. So that's my drive.
That's your drive. So talking about time, I was speaking to Louise, my wife, about this. Like, you've got 4 kids over between us, right? You've got a lot more businesses than me, a lot more going on. How do you manage your time? Because that's one thing we spoke about, like being a mum, being a wife, being, the businesswoman that you are, running all these companies. How many did you say? 13?
I mean, I'm not like exec in them all, so a lot of them are investments. But yeah, okay. So I would say I probably have 6 or 7 that actively take up quite a bit of time. Yeah.
So how do you manage your time? What does that look like on a day-to-day?
So firstly, I'm ruthless with it. Like I don't have a PA, and I manage my own diary. And that's really important to me.
That. Wow.
So everybody has to get through me if they want the time. Nobody else is paid to fill my diary, which is really important. And I've learned that the hard way. I've tried everything. This just happens to really suit me. Then I know my own brain gets too full of stuff quite easily because I can have a lot going on. So I am constantly emptying my head. I'm a big walker, and I exercise a lot, but I'm also a big walker. And when I walk, I have no input. I don't put AirPods in, I don't listen to podcasts, I don't do anything, I don't get any input. What I'm trying to do actually is empty my head. And by doing that, it makes me so much better. I mean, a gazillion times better at every bit that I do. So what it means is that when I go into a meeting and I'm working, I'm able to be present and good in that meeting. And at the same time, I'll then maybe schedule walking from there as a transition into getting home or whatever. And I'm able to then be very present as a mom, and very present as a wife, and very present as a friend. And that, realizing that I needed to do that, completely changed my life, actually. And it meant that I was way less frantic, much calmer, and like I say, able to be present in all of those different aspects of life. And I also prioritize what really matters to me, and actually I prioritize my family.
But exercise, I've never met anybody who's doing anything of relative size that doesn't do this, right?
I just couldn't. I could not survive without it in my life.
So do you ever walk every day?
Every single day. I don't walk the same time every day or the same place, but even if I come to London, I made sure that I was here early enough to do a really big walk to here, and I will walk back into town, even if it takes me 45-50 minutes. That will be like me emptying my head until I do the next thing.
No phone calls, no nothing, just
no phone calls. It's just, that's my time when I have a quiet head. And it's changed my life. But I also go to the gym a lot as well. But that's a bit more, they play music and stuff, and I'm like, sharp. But there's quite a lot going on at a gym, so it's a bit different. But
love that. Do you do anything else for mindfulness? I'm a big believer in this, and meditation, all these different things. Do you do anything else like that, or is that your
No,
thing?
That's absolutely my thing.
I think whatever you're doing, just getting something like that, whether it's meditation, gym, walking, running, something is key, right?
Yeah, my husband meditates. He sits still and actually centers himself.
Yeah, I do.
That doesn't work for me. I need to be out in nature. But it is like a meditation. So when I'm out in nature, I'll ground myself by watching a butterfly or a bird or the wind in the tree, like actually focusing on something, and that just literally, it just empties my head. Yeah.
Do you think that's making you better in your meetings, whatever they may be, because you're getting that time? But I think if you just work constantly, you just burn out, don't you?
It is life-changing for me.
Wow. Good tip for everyone, for sure.
I am a miles better person for it. I am a better leader, I am a better mom, I'm a better wife, I am just a better human for doing it, without a doubt. And actually, I didn't realise just how much I needed it so when I left Dragon's Den, the reason I left is I took my kids out of school, we went travelling around the world, and we ended up going for 3 years. It's by a mile the best thing I've ever done in my life. It was amazing.
So how old were the kids?
They were all between 5 and 10 when we left. And then when we came back, between 8 and 13. And it took nearly 6 months for the adrenaline to leave my system properly. And because it never really left my system before, I'd never known it, I was full of it. I I didn't do any of this before. I wasn't doing all the walking and trying to empty my head before I went traveling. I was just full.
Oh, so that's what made you...
And it was 6 months in, and I can remember the day that I first realised the adrenaline had entirely left my system. And I have never liked my brain and my mind as much as that moment. It was so beautiful inside my head. I was so clear and creative and present and I could focus on anything. It was just, and this lasted for ages while we were traveling. Yeah. And then of course you come back and your brain starts to fill again. You get lots and lots of input from the real world, because that's not the real world. And now what I'm constantly trying to do, I won't get back to that again because this is life. And I'm not traveling, and I might get back to it later in life, but I'm not going to get back to it today. But what I'm always trying to do is get back to more, trying to get closer to that, how my brain was at that time, because I'd never experienced it. I'd never realised just how incredible it could be without all of the adrenaline. So that's why now I'm very focused on trying to release the adrenaline as much as possible.
As much as you can.
Yeah.
Love it. Going back a step to the building the companies, is there any standout things from your career standout things from your career? Maybe it's just a big exit, maybe it's just something from a business perspective this is that you're really proud of, that you really think, you know what, I nailed that, or you know what, because I did that happened. Is it, like when you look back on your journey, what jumps out?
I mean, there are a few, I guess, pivotal moments, but I think in terms of business, that time in my 20s that I was talking about, of sharing the office with the chief executive of Pizza Express, I learned the importance of the business model. And it's never left me. Like every time I listen to anybody's pitch or look at any business, I'm looking fundamentally at the sort of simple business model, strip it all back and go through to the basic business model. And that's really, like, I can see simplicity in chaos. And that, I think, has really changed the way I approached all business. That moment did, because it made me come back to all the time looking at this simple, replicable business model. Like, what am I doing or spending here to get back here, and then how many times can I do it in order to grow the business? And it also, my time in my 20s also made me realize that I'm not a creator. So if you give me a blank sheet of paper, nothing will happen. I will literally just stare at it. But if you give me 5 bullet points, I'll write a book. And that was it was really good to understand that for me. So when I did the Bombay Bicycle Club, I didn't start it. I found somebody who had already started it, had already created a brand, had already created a following. And I raised the money and bought this little, really small business. But then what I'm really good at is growth, is scale. So I knew then I could go into that business. They'd done the bit that I couldn't do. I could put some good people around me. I could put a structure into it, and then I could roll it out. And that, learning that early, learning what is your superpower, Sarah, and what are you really not good at. I couldn't have done anything, I don't think, without realising these are your strengths and these are your weaknesses. And I realised that a lot in my 20s, which was great.
For sure. You mentioned something about simplification, simplifying the business structure, right? There's people in here who've got businesses, people who are established, people who are maybe going to start a business soon, or various experience levels. What is the fundamentals for business for you? What do you look for? What's like a non-negotiable? What is that structure that you look for?
I mean, when we're looking at a pitch, like if you're looking at investment, so I can answer it almost in 2 different ways. So one, if you're looking at it from the point of view of an investor, like what makes this a really investable business is, one, what is the need for it? Like who are you selling it to? Can I see this customer? And you get people who come into the den and they go, oh yeah, everybody in the world wants this, 8 billion people. And you're like, okay, well, I'm out, because you're never going to be able to talk to 8 billion people. So again, actually, exactly as we've just heard, it's that niche of who is the customer and why do they need this? And often that's answered within a pitch, actually. And then the second bit is, okay, how am I going to talk to that customer? Can I see a way of reaching that customer where you've then got a marketing model which is an effective return on investment? So if you've got a marketing model which you're putting money behind, how much are you spending and what are you getting back to talk to that niche market? So how much is every lead worth to you? How much is every sale worth to you? So it's that second bit is understanding, okay, who is that customer and how do I get to them? How do I get them to buy? And then the third bit for me as an investor is always about the individual, and that comes back to that resilience bit. And so often the business model that we start out with at the beginning of a business is not the business model that we end with. But is that person rigid, or is that person open to actually the journey of trying to find that business model? Because it could be very different than the one you think it's going to be, but trying to find it and open to that opportunity as you go through, open to learning, open to trying things, open to failing as well. It's also really, really important, but open to trying new things. And are they resilient? Can I see a backpack? Can I see a little propeller, or will they fall at the first hurdle? And so as an investor, every time I see a deck or a pitch or listen to a pitch, I would say they're really the three core things that I'm making sure that I've got the answers to by the end of it. And then I guess the first bit, which is who's the customer, is down to that model of, can you explain in 2 sentences what it is that you're trying to do here?
Simplification.
It is. It's always about making it, really breaking it down to make it really, really simple.
So is there any particular industries? I know you've done a lot in hospitality. Would you do any industry as long as it had those fundamental pieces, or is there anything that you focus on? Or, second part of that question, anything that you're particularly excited about right now or going forward?
I'm really excited about AI. Like, I am spending a lot of time learning, understanding, and I think the opportunity over the next 18 months of the businesses that are going to come out, and I think a lot of them will come out of young people, actually. For sure. It's just very cool. And I think I'm very, very excited about that. But I think I've got 4 teenage kids, and I am absolutely fascinated. I mean, we're just listening about YouTube. My kids sit and watch YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video on the main telly. Like, the way they behave, the doom scrolling, the way that they consume products and businesses is fascinating to me. And I think what we'll see come out of the next 18 months, actually, as that generation is growing up and starting to become consumers, I think we're going to see a whole new wave of businesses coming out of there. But I am naturally very consumer focused. My husband does a lot of, I call them the really boring businesses. He gets really offended by that because they are actually quite exciting. But
sometimes some of the best ones.
There's honestly, sometimes by a mile, sometimes some of the best ones, because they're so simple, right? Yeah. And he loves a lot of he's also very deep into AI at the moment, but he's looking at a lot of the B2B stuff. Whereas I still just get really excited by consumer-facing businesses.
Any predictions from an AI perspective, industries, niches, things that are going to happen, or are you positive or negative about this? Because there's a lot of people talking about, all sorts of terrible things are going to happen to businesses, employment, all of that. Are you more optimistic, pessimistic?
I do think it will be really anti-inflationary, actually. I do think it's going to have an enormous impact on employment in a lot of industries. I mean, you can start to see it in a lot of the really big tech industries over in the States in particular, are just, thousands of people And I think that will become, I think we'll see that in a lot of those industries. But of course, like my industry, hospitality and leisure, it obviously doesn't touch the consumer-facing side because, AI is not going to suddenly pour a pint, or
Robots probably
make a burger. And actually I was in a pitch recently, and somebody said,